Hi folks, Dr. Marpali here. Welcome to Value Add. Dealing with depression, how do you address it? Now, I am no person to give an expert advice on this. This is just some inputs that maybe might help you in your journey of life. I hope it does for sure. So take it with that in mind, as you hear these points, whatever I'm sharing. Okay, they certainly have helped me get out of feeling low in life. There were phases in life, and I was obviously, like any human, I too have faced feeling really low, and that was the lowest I felt to be sharing with you was during the time when I was done with my 12th standard exam. It was like that was like a lot of, I was just so bogged down with the studies aspect of it, and bringing myself pulling myself out of it was a journey, and it just happened very organically, and I'm grateful for that. But what essentially helped me then, and ever since then also in many aspects of my life, is that if you can be addressing it on, okay, I'm going to share it with you from a perspective that is more like uh, more constructed rather than just randomly just putting points. So when I say constructed, I mean, like, okay, there are aspects to dealing with it, with a sense of feeling low, with a sense of feeling depressed in any form. Before you go for that therapy aspect, I would actually recommend, if you can actually do these things and give these things a shot, it's probably worth doing it. Okay, so getting to what those points are, one would be the physical aspect, altering your physical chemistry by the diet that you eat and the physical activity that you do. These things actually impact your body, right? It's going into your system. So eating better quality foods and getting that exercise, like there's so many articles and videos and topics mentioned about how exercise can release those chemicals that lead to you feeling good. I'm not sure about whether it helps in releasing which form of it, but certainly you can experience it in in yourself. You don't need to know the name of any chemical, but you feel good, right, after exercise. It's like a pain, but it's like a sweet pain, you can almost call it. So yes, physical activity and also a good diet after a period of time, by having healthy, kind of good quality foods, avoiding the negative, like not negative, avoiding the food which is obviously processed junk food. Everyone knows what those foods are. We don't even need to mention the list of them, but in today's world, at least, it's so easy to tell that. So if you can take care of it on that physical level, do that. Then there is this on a psychological level, on an emotional level, and then even before the physical level, I would say, comes on the spiritual level, on a mental, having the level of peace, having that sense of balance with yourself. Now that sense of balance, that spiritual level peace, that is it is there is an aspect of it which is you can train yourself as well. When you meditate, when you give yourself time to just be with yourself, it doesn't even have to be a formal set of activity in form of meditation. It could just be spending time being meditative, being in nature, being in silence for a while, simple activities like that. Or it could be formal form of meditation where you are just being present to the moment. That certainly you can use all kinds of methods by which you practice that being meditative. It certainly helps you find that sense of clarity when everything else fails. So on that spiritual, calling it spiritual level, which it is, of course, definitely do that for a while, practice that, and see the results of that, along with the physical activity and diet. Then there is the emotional aspect of it, from the emotional aspect of it, I'm talking more about the psychology, the way you deal with the way you address challenges in life. Your psychology. That's that you can also probably call it your attitude towards it. So having the right approach and the right attitude is that emotional level set of actions that you can approach things with. There was this one very beautiful seminar I had once watched long back, and it talked about how whenever something negative happens in your life, you can approach it in one of three ways. One of them is the positive way of doing it, which is approaching that situation assertively. I'll get to this assertive part, but before that, the other two methods, which are actually the immature responses. The assertiveness is the mature response. These other two are the immature responses, which are either behaving aggressively in response to it, and second is depressed in response to it. So imagine, like, you're facing a challenge in life, and you become all morose and you're depressed because you've kind of surrendered to it. You're like, there's nothing I can do about it. That's an attitude of depression towards it, or being depressed. Maybe not the right word, but it's more like you are surrendering to it in the form of, like, I've given up on it, and it's a hopeless kind of a feeling, right? There you're not putting any effort into resolving it at some point. You're just like given up, right? That's one extreme of it. By the way, these are in extreme. These are in ranges. You can do that, to a smaller level, to a very higher level, which would be the being completely depressed, an extreme approach. Then the second immature approach was aggressive. So you can either burst out in anger or be completely aggressive, and of course the extreme is just go manic, right? So these are immature responses, right? Now you have a choice to, instead of reacting in these two immature ways, approaching that situation with an assertive way. Now, assertive way is something more like a delayed response. It's a more slower form of approaching that situation. So what do? You don't, obviously you're careful not to be in either of the two categories, and then which is aggressive or too depressed. But then at the same time, you look at what is in your control, what actions can you do about it, and how soon would you, if you were sensibly about to deal with that problem, how soon would you be able to address it? Sometimes you can address that thing immediately, but other times which is in a calm way but still firm way, and other times you can deal with it by still being calm and still being firm, but the solution is not there right now. The solution may be a week from now, the solution may be a year from now, or even a decade from now. It's like channeling all of that negative energy into something assertive, which it's a more controlled way of approaching that. So on an emotional level, that's the best way to approach it. I found that to be a very helpful psychological tool as well to deal with my challenges when I face it. Ever since I heard that message, beautiful approach to understanding how your psychology sometimes harms you more than it should. Instead of helping you, it's harming you more. So yeah, if you can just take care of these three aspects to the best of your ability, I think it covers a huge chunk of your this experience of feeling low or depressed, and you can actually do something about it. And even if you're not able to completely address it, and it's just 20% addressed, why not take it and build on that. It's kind of like that assertive response to your depression, right? You are not looking for a solution immediately, so okay, let's just look at being feeling a sense of depression. and addressing that's a negative thing happening in your life. Right now I've just taken the whole concept of depression only being the problem, and how are you addressing that itself in this correct emotional response, of course, not to reduce the value of the first 2 points, the spiritual and the physical. Those play a massive role too. Spiritual plays on a long term and on a like a longer level of peace. Physical plays on an immediate feeling of good, and this emotional plays on also a long term but more like a immediate as well. Somewhere in between, you can probably say, this emotional approach to it, right? So you're feeling depressed. Now, one way of approaching it is the immature way of responding to it is be even more depressed about it, that you're feeling depressed, and be like, man, this, I gotta, I'm I, of course, asking for help is fantastic. Do that. The person who's helping you probably might just give you these inputs in some form or the other. What I have just been sharing with you, even this, you're watching this video is also reaching out for help, right? Or maybe you're just curious to know about this, and maybe you can help someone else, right? So one immature response was that you were depressed about it, about the fact that you were depressed. You're just getting even more into that negative loop. Another immature response was that you just burst all of that into anger and just screamed out at someone or at some situation, or maybe just into a pillow. Some people recommend screaming into a pillow. That's probably better, or punching something cardboard or something not too harmful. While that is much better than screaming at someone, it's also at the end of the day wasted energy. All of that energy of yours, that feeling of low, which is gathered energy, actually it's all pent up energy, and you are channeling it, kind of, it's almost like wasting it out, right? Unless it's getting too much, then sure, have at it, right? But if you can actually, instead of aggressively or depressedly approaching it, you can maybe deal with it assertively. Take these steps, each of these steps we discussed here, right? And went about them consistently, addressed each of them over a period of the next 2 weeks to 2 months. And even after that, for sure, you're going to see some results. And Tony Robbins, who I respect a lot, says this beautiful point that happiness is something along those lines, that happiness is not about achieving something, but it's about the pursuit of it, like the kind of the effort towards it that you take. That's happiness. So when you are actually taking the effort to move towards a certain aspect of your life, by the way, when you live this way, when you kind of are taking action in your life, addressing each of these things, you're taking care of your fitness, you're taking care of your the spiritual aspect of your life, and then you're also addressing it in the form of kind of maybe taking some further steps, which are positive, working towards whether it's your career or whether it's something that you're passionate about. You're putting yourself out there and in a controlled way, moving forward in your life to whatever goal you would like, whatever you would goal or something that you want in your life. You're moving towards that, not even achieving that, moving towards it. That itself is an amazing feeling to be in. So give all these things a try and see where you are at. If after doing all of this and consistently putting all of this effort, you still find yourself in a place that it's actually not at all helping, like you find that it's 20%, what it's not even like 0.5% of, after having done it for like at least a month or two, sure, reach out for some professional help as well. That there's nothing wrong with that. that's fantastic. Of course, if you feel the immediate need and you really think that professional help is immediately needed, why not go for it? Absolutely. Just but if you are in that, that initial phase where you are like somewhat there, somewhat not there, perhaps try these things out. Again, see what works for you. Be very respectful of your mental health, and move towards a better life. Yeah, I hope all these things help you. These things have certainly helped me in my life, and they help billions of other people one way or the other. So why not give it a try to yourself as well? Okay, so cheers. Say water liberates self. Like and subscribe. Cheers. Bye.